You said yes again. You could feel the tightness in your chest before the words even left your mouth. You knew you were already over capacity, and you said yes anyway. That moment, that exact split second, is where self-abandonment in relationships actually happens. Not when you're sad about it later, not when you blow up 3 days down the line. Right there, at the decision. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what's happening in the 2 seconds between feeling the pull and giving into it. And you'll have a 4-step sequence, the boundary repair ladder, that works even if you already said yes, even if it was last week, even if you've missed the moment 100 times before. This isn't about becoming a different person. It's about learning where the decision actually lives. Let me show you, Dana. It's 9:12 on a Tuesday night. She's standing at her kitchen island with her laptop open and 3 browser tabs she never meant to be juggling. One is a school auction portal. Someone needs to coordinate parent donations, pick up, and drop off for a themed basket by Friday. Another is her daughter's dentist rescheduling. The third is a text thread with her husband, Evan, who is in the next room but sends messages anyway when there's planning involved. Can you figure out what we need for Sunday at my mom's? Also, my sister asked if we can host brunch instead. As Dana reads that, a notification appears from the class parent thread. Would anyone be willing to take lead on the auction basket? Dana feels the hit in her body before she has a full thought. Chest tight, jaw set, already exhausted. If she slowed down for 30 seconds to ask what she actually had capacity for, the answer would be clear: not this. Not all of it. Not tonight. Instead, she answers from the old place. To the class thread, I can do it. To Evan, sure, I'll handle brunch stuff too. To herself, it's easier if I just take care of it. That line sounds efficient. It is not. It is self-abandonment dressed as competence. By Thursday afternoon, Dana is furious at everyone. Furious at the parent who promised to send a gift card and forgot. Furious at Evan for asking what time his mother wants everyone there, even though he could text her himself. Furious at how nobody seems to notice that the small planning jobs live in her head long before they show up on anyone else's list. When Evan asks in a neutral voice whether she remembered orange juice for brunch, Dana snaps so fast that even she's startled. No, I didn't remember orange juice because apparently I'm the entire operations department for this family. The fight that follows sounds like it's about juice, his mother, and tone. Dana knows it's about something older, but it's also about something very immediate. She knew by Tuesday night that she needed rest, choice, and support. She named none of it out loud. Then she made decisions against all 3 needs and waited for resentment to speak on her behalf. Here's what I want you to notice. Dana didn't fail at self-awareness. She failed at the decision. She felt the tightness. She registered the overload, and then she betrayed it anyway. That's the part nobody talks about, and it's where this video is going to live. Most conversations about self-abandonment focus on the emotional experience. Feeling unseen, feeling like you disappear, feeling like you never get what you need. And all of that is real, but self-abandonment isn't mainly an emotional experience. It becomes real when it enters behavior. Here's the sequence. You feel the squeeze. Someone asks for something and your body knows before your brain has caught up. You notice the need. Rest, choice, protection, support. Then a second process takes over. Quiet, fast, automatic. Don't disappoint her. Don't make this awkward. Don't look difficult. Don't start a conflict. Don't be selfish. Make this easy. Make yourself easy. That's the point where the inner damage gets done. Not because you had a need, because you betrayed it. And here's the thing I need you to sit with before we go any further, because this changes everything about how you try to fix it. I'll come back to this in a minute. But first, I want to show you what self-abandonment actually looks like in your everyday life, because it almost never arrives dramatically. Self-abandonment rarely announces itself. It usually arrives in competent, polite, socially acceptable clothing. It looks like an automatic yes. Someone asks for a favor, extra work, a faster answer than you can honestly give, and you say yes before your body has even caught up. The speed is the clue. The yes isn't a choice. It's an escape hatch from discomfort. It looks like a delayed no. You agree in the moment, spend hours feeling heavier and more resentful, then either back out in a panic or fulfill the commitment while quietly punishing the other person in your head. It looks like overfunctioning. You take responsibility for planning, smoothing, remembering, and anticipating because letting someone else carry their part feels riskier than doing too much yourself. It looks like over-explaining. You don't say, I can't do that tonight. You say, I'm so sorry. This week has been crazy and I would love to and I feel bad and usually I would. And it's not that I don't want to support you. It's just that I have this thing and the kids and work has been intense and maybe next time if you still need help, I could maybe... The explanation grows because you're trying to buy permission for your boundary by making your reasons sound airtight and sympathetic. That almost never works. It often invites negotiation, and it looks like guilt-driven compliance. You don't want to do the thing, you don't have room for the thing, but the other person's disappointment hits you like a moral accusation, so you comply to stop feeling like the bad one. All of these patterns share one thing. You leave the conversation looking cooperative and leave yourself feeling deserted. Now here's the thing I told you I'd come back to. The reason most boundary advice fails isn't because people don't know they should set limits. It's because the advice skips the place where self-abandonment actually happens. Everyone tells you to communicate your needs and know your worth, but those instructions assume you can identify the moment before it's gone. And with an automatic yes pattern, you often can't, not in real time. The decision is made before you've even consciously processed the request. So what do you actually need? You need a sequence that works on the decision itself, not just the emotional aftermath. And you need it to work late, after you've already said yes, after the moment has passed. Because here's the truth, if you have a self-abandonment pattern, you will miss the ideal moment often, especially at first. A plan that only works when you catch it in time isn't a plan, it's a wish. Let me give you the sequence. This is the boundary repair ladder. 4 steps, each one smaller and plainer than you think you need. Step 1, name the smallest truthful limit. Not the full speech, not 6 months of resentment delivered at once. The smallest true thing. I can't stay late tonight. I'm not available to host on Sunday. I need to answer that tomorrow, not right now. I can help with one part of this, not all of it. None of those lines are harsh. They're also not open-ended essays. Step 2, repeat if pushed. This is where people panic and start explaining bigger. If someone says, but it would only take a minute, you don't need a fresh paragraph. You need the same limit again. I hear that. I still can't stay late tonight. I know Sunday would be easier for you. I'm still not available to host. Repetition is powerful because it refuses the false idea that a boundary becomes more legitimate when you can defend it perfectly. Often the opposite happens. The more you explain, the more material you hand the other person to work around. Step 3, state the consequence or alternative. This is where the boundary stops being a preference and becomes real. If the deck needs to be finished tonight, someone else will need to take it. I'm offline at 6. If brunch is at our house, you'll need to handle the shopping and timing. If you need an answer right now, the answer has to be no. Step 4, exit. Not because you're punishing someone, because a boundary without a holding action is often only a hopeful sentence. Exit can mean leaving the room, ending the call, not responding until later, or allowing the other person to be unhappy without stepping back in to manage it. That last part matters most. Many boundaries fail not because the sentence was wrong, but because the person setting it can't tolerate the other person's reaction. If you say, "I'm not available," and then immediately start soothing, bargaining, and changing the boundary because someone looks displeased, the original limit dissolves. Let me show you what this looks like when it works. Paula is at her desk at 4:43 on a Friday. Her director messages, "Need you to clean up the board deck tonight so we can review first thing tomorrow." Paula already has dinner plans with her sister. She's promised herself she won't keep donating Friday nights to last-minute chaos. Her old move is familiar. She types, "Of course," then spends the subway ride half crying and half editing slides on her phone. She tells herself she's being a team player. What she's actually doing is teaching her workplace that her plans are optional whenever someone higher up feels urgency. The repaired move sounds like this. "I can revise the deck first thing tomorrow by 10. I'm offline for the evening. If it needs to be done tonight, we'll need someone else to take it." That sentence does 4 things. It describes the situation, it asserts a limit, it offers an alternative, and it protects self-respect by refusing the false emergency. Notice what Paula doesn't include. She doesn't apologize 3 times, she doesn't invent a better excuse than the truth, she doesn't explain how much she values the team, she doesn't turn her private plans into evidence. Now, here's a piece that catches people off guard. What about when you already said yes? What about the commitment you made last week when you weren't strong enough to say no? This is where I want to talk about something most boundary conversations skip entirely. Late repair counts. One of the most harmful beliefs in boundary work is that if you didn't say the right thing in real time, the chance is gone. That belief keeps you trapped in self-abandonment because you think the only clean boundary is the immediate one. Immediate is nice. Immediate is not required. Late repair has 5 steps. 1. Stop the second self-abandonment. The first self-abandonment was the too fast yes. The second self-abandonment is telling yourself, "Well, I already agreed, so now I have to keep betraying myself all the way through." You don't. 2. Name what changed or what you finally admitted to yourself. Sometimes nothing changed except your honesty. That's enough. 3. Send the repair message briefly. Do not write a long confession about your attachment wounds and how hard limits are for you. The other person doesn't need an origin story to receive a limit. 4. Offer the revised reality, not endless negotiation. A smaller yes, a different time, 1 piece instead of 5, or a direct no. 5. Tolerate guilt without reopening the case. This is what makes late repair real. If you repair late and then fold the second the other person sounds disappointed, you teach yourself that honesty is dangerous and temporary. Here's what late repair sounds like in real life. After saying yes too fast, "I answered too quickly earlier, I need to change my answer, I can't do it after all." After staying too long in a conversation, "I should have paused this earlier, I'm not available to keep talking tonight, we can revisit tomorrow at noon." After letting a disrespectful tone continue, "I didn't stop this when I needed to, I'm not willing to keep talking if the tone stays like this." Notice what those lines do. They acknowledge the miss without making the other person manage your remorse. You can name what happened without turning it into shame theater. Before you say the line, there's one question worth asking yourself. It cuts through almost everything. Is this limit smaller and truer than my resentment wants, and clearer than my guilt prefers? Resentment wants a speech. Guilt wants a whisper so soft it can be ignored. The actual limit lives somewhere in between. Specific, true, and smaller than you think it needs to be real. That's the target. This week, your practice is fieldwork, not a confidence test. Here's the 3-part sequence. Part 1, catch one automatic yes. Pick one place where your yes tends to outrun your actual capacity. Before you answer, run a fast self-abandonment audit. 5 questions, 30 seconds. Do I actually have time or capacity for this? Do I want to do it, even moderately? If I say yes, can I do it without building resentment? What fear is pushing me toward yes? Guilt, rejection, conflict, or image? If I had 20 minutes before answering, would I still say yes? If you can't say yes to at least 3 of those, reach for a delay line. Not an excuse, not an apology, just a pause. Let me check and get back to you. I'm not answering on the spot. I need to look at the week first. If you have a self-abandonment pattern, those lines aren't avoidance, they're protective equipment. Part 2, do one late repair. Pick a real situation where you already overcommitted, stayed too long, or gave more than you wanted. Send the shortest correction that tells the truth. I answered too quickly. I need to change my answer. I can do part of this, not all of it. I'm not available after all. One sentence? No origin story. Tolerate the guilt. Part 3. Track one band of invisible labor for 7 days. Not every household task. Just one category of labor you routinely erase, remembering, prompting, coordinating, anticipating. At week's end, ask, where is resentment showing you that you've been acting as if this work doesn't count? Let the answer produce one actual boundary, a redistributed planning task, a slower volunteer response, an after-hours rule. Judge the week by behavior. Did you pause sooner? Tell the truth faster? Shorten the explanation? Repair one miss instead of acting like it proved your fate? That's enough for this chapter. If you've ever said yes to something and immediately felt that chest drop the moment it left your mouth, type, "I know that feeling" in the comments. I read everyone. If this landed for you, subscribe. Every week on this channel, there's a new tool from the Reparenting Repair path, practical, specific, and built for the moments when you actually need it. Next week, we're going into Chapter 6, how to say the hard thing without it turning into a fight. Because setting the limit is one thing. Staying clear inside the conversation is a different skill entirely. If you want the full framework across all 8 chapters, I've written a complete guide. The link is in the description. Take care of yourself. You're already doing more than you think.